weather is cloudy or sunny, I will always be a funny honey bunny. I am lucky, you are lucky, let us get lucky together. Whether the weather is cloudy or breezy, I'll be there to say, hey, come on, let's take it easy. Cause isn't it nice to have the friends that you do? And isn't it nice that the sky is so blue? And isn't it nice to say I love you, chugga chugga choo choo, woo woo. I am smiling, you are smiling, let us smile together. Whether the weather is cloudy or stormy, I will still be there in the morning. I'll be right by your side in the morning. I'll make you breakfast in the morning. I hope that you like cereal.
Yay! That's so nice. We do that for Phil these days.
That makes my week.
And I gotta say, brother, it's nice to, and Johnny Million's joining us again, or whatever. I had to switch internets just to get us back on. Look how much clearer Johnny Million is. It's unbelievable. And look, we can actually see the wonderful city of Kiev right behind you. Yeah, it's very nice. It's so nice. You look like you're in front of a green screen now. That's the funny part. It's so nice, right? The lighting is so great, and yeah. For those of you watching at infotainmentwars.com, back online, if anybody got kicked off, jump back in, and there you go. We should be better, yada, yada. I had to do it during a break because I didn't trust it. And as soon as I did it, by the way, everything crapped out. So we had to reload. So it made sense. I'm sure we have a couple more questions for Philip from Johnny Million. What do we have?
Let's do it.
So from Connie Kelly, she asks, the state TV is sending lives to Belarus who's trying to stay neutral, but is still pro-Russian. Any hope of changing Belarus's mind?
Boy, I certainly hope so. And you know, as much as I don't like our intelligence community doing things like infiltrating and undermining governments, if there's a government in the world that deserves to be undermined, it's that of Alexander Lukashenko, and it is fertile ground because of the Belarusians. I think the Belarusians are if it doesn't collapse before the victory in Ukraine, it will happen shortly after, and it's only right that it does happen, because I've been to Belarus. I've been to Belarus a few times. And I was actually in hey, there goes a nice little, wow, okay. Very heavy military vehicle moving past me just there.
Right.
I was in Belarus the weekend before 9/11. And some of you who enjoy what I do and are interested in what I have to say, I have been contacted by a production company, and there is the possibility of a documentary about my career. And if that happens, this will be part of it, because I was in Belarus the weekend before 9/11. I saw the re-election. I think it was the second or third re-election of Alexander Lukashenko. And I saw even back then the brutality that he inflicted upon his people for those who contested the results of the election. He is a terrible leader. He is a criminal. He is brutal, and the Belarusian people deserve better. And I think that again, if it doesn't happen before Ukrainian victory, it will happen shortly after. But yes, I do believe that Belarus is due to become part of the European community of nations.
I think that after Ukraine is stabilized, and even after this ends, and perhaps before, but I think definitely after, the fact that Lithuania and Latvia are like, see, told you, join NATO, dummies, otherwise they're coming in, and Finland and Sweden have joined. The pressure on Belarus, especially if the federation collapses or in the possibility of collapsing, Belarus is basically going to switch sides.
Well, just as a quick note, and then let's move on to another question, but just as a quick note, the only reason he survived the last round of upheaval in this country is because Putin came in and intervened.
Right.
So, you know, without Putin, Lukashenko is in bad shape.
Right. And unfortunately, unfortunately, the issue I have is that some of these guys changing sides because it's just they see the stronger side are not trustworthy. They're faux amis, as the French would say. And there's a real danger that, they're with you right now until the next dictator comes along and they're like, that's my guy. And if you get somebody, who tries to be the villain in Val Kilmer's The Saint, and goes, we need a Russia that's no longer not revered but feared, which is what Putin was ultimately trying to do. That's a concern with if the structure is still in place in Belarus. I think it'll go the way of Ukraine over time, given a chance, but it won't do it with the current heads. It'll be all this: if you want investment, you got to drop your corruption. What your corruption is these Russian-linked oligarchs. They're going to go through this whole peloton with these guys, just like they had to do with Ukraine. And the only difference is we don't have to look at it being invaded by Russia as part of the process, which is way better. It'll be all economic and legal, which is how it should be in a rules-based ordered society amongst world nations trying to get along and just sell each other stuff and have tourists, which is how countries should operate.
Not that I'm cheating on you, Hal, but I did do a roundtable yesterday with another group, and they were asking me about that, and I said that I think that there are those increasingly within Europe who are starting to realize that this is actually happening, and that Ukraine is going to be, and these other states, Belarus and Ukraine, are actually going to become members of the European Union. And as we've discussed in the past, I think they're starting to wake up to the realization that that may actually challenge their supremacy. And I'm looking at you, Berlin.
Right.
So
that's right. That's why the dragging of their feet in Germany. That's why. It's specifically why, because they will be toppled as the lead government, the power player. Germany and France have been jockeying back and forth as the power players in Europe for a very long time because of size.
Right. And one of the things that have kept them, when I had this conversation, one of the things that kept them from that neighborhood of nations is the corruption issue. And the corruption issue, I think, will be resolved in the aftermath of this war, because I think that a lot of people are going to be like, there has to be a reason. That all this blood, there has to be a result. So there has to be something needs to be delivered after all of this. And I think the Ukrainians are definitely going to clean house. And when they do, they will become part of that neighborhood of nations, and it will change the dynamic of Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. And I think to some degree, Germany has a little bit of the exercise of control that they are going to lose a little bit of because of their importance. I mentioned this earlier. Ukraine has, we know about its grain supplies. We know now, and if anybody bothers to listen to what I've been clamoring on about for the last couple of months, that one of the reasons for 2014 was the discovery of oil and gas deposits, not just on land in Ukraine, but around Crimea, between Crimea and Odessa. Those lands. It's one of the main reasons, besides having a port and all that stuff, that Russia wanted that, because if you get Crimea, you get the waters for about 250 miles out, and that's oil and gas. You're going to get in there, and that'll supply. You have an even more bigger stranglehold. But also, Ukraine has the biggest uranium deposits in all of Europe. It has the biggest iron ore deposits in all of Europe. It has the biggest veins of.
It has a population that is incredibly
technically savvy.
Revolution here.
Yep.
There's an agribusiness here, and I'm going to catch myself before I get a lot of criticism here, because I did lose the plot. I should have reversed that about the corruption in Germany, but I lost the plot a little bit because look how pretty.
I know, it's so beautiful.
I'm like, this is a broadcast quality. I mean, I have. In the size of a small suit, not even a suitcase. I mean, we would have killed for this. Oh God, I got to keep correcting myself with my analogies, but I have the capability to be an entire broadcast organization.
Yeah,
in the size of a teeny. I mean, this ring light countering this beautiful backdrop.
It's great.
It's just amazing. So I'm sorry I lost the plot a little bit there, but
no, it's exciting.
Pretty, right?
Yeah, it is. Those not watching, you can watch later on at infotainmentwars.com or on twitch.tv/HalSparks, or even on my Facebook page at the Hal Sparks page. So what I do want to address, and we've only got a couple minutes left. Let me do at least one more question. Is there another question there, Johnny, we can grab real quick? Just because I feel...
This is from Medium T. Does Central/Eastern Russia have a united identity, or would they break apart into smaller provinces, maybe even big regions?
Right, like the Siberian/Mongolian adjacent regions.
They have an identity in and of themselves, but they're so... When you get out to the hinterlands of Russia, you are really talking about hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of miles of separation. So a unified identity, no. Like a republic that'll rise up, that'll be kind of like a Caucasus region that'll unify and become a nation state in and of itself, or a Central Asian. More likely, the Central Asian in particular are more likely to group up with the Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, those groups. And then as you get farther and farther east, I mean, they're massive, massive. And this is the problem. This is why the center of gravity will not hold, because there's just no population mass, because that territory is it's inhospitable. So when it breaks up, when the center of gravity breaks,
80% of the year, it's permafrost. And I think you're right about the Kazakhstan aspect of it, because Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, or Kazakhstanis and the like, don't necessarily have an identity. But like when we think of Kazakhstan, we think of Borat in this country. But even still, within within the context of the existence of those places, it's not like they go, finally, we Kazakhstanis, the way the Ukrainians do, which is extraordinary. Even the way, I would argue, Lithuanians do, or the Finnish do, or
if you look at the Republic of Bashkiria or Tatarstan, they don't really have an identity that would allow
national
them
identity,
to.
Right.
But they wouldn't bandy together with fellow republics in their region, just because they're so sparsely populated. Because we talk about the permafrost, but also
we're out of time. By the way, hold on, we're out of time. I want to thank Chicago. We'll keep talking in the post show. We're out of time. Thanks, Chicago. We'll see you next time. It's the House of Marks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. We're here every Saturday. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Okay, bye. Thanks, Matt. Welcome aboard.